So now I am ready to start doing the infill portions. Before I do that, the next thing I need to do is I need to create a wall to enclose my columns. You do not have to enclose your columns. If you want to leave your columns exposed, you can do that, but you will need to paint them when we get ready to do finishes. But for those of you who want to actually enclose your columns, this is what you're going to need to do. I'm going to go to Wall, Architectural, and we want to start with a regular interior wall that's already in here. And in this case, the basic wall that we're going to use is a 4 7/8 inch partition, but it will not be 1 hour rated. So that's the very first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit this wall, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to take off the 1 hour part, because typically that width for a 1 hour wall is going to be a different type of gypsum board. But the way that the Revit package is set up, this is just a regular 5/8 inch, so we don't need to do that. We just need to do that in the name. So I'm going to say OK and say OK. So now I have my basic interior wall that is not rated. Just to go back over this, this is our typical wall that will be used throughout most of the project. You will have a layer of 5/8 inch gypsum board on each side, plus a 3 5/8 inch metal stud. It should be labeled as a 4 7/8 inch wall, and it will go up to 9 foot 6 inches above the floor. So make sure you have it set properly. From that, I'm going to create my wall that I want to put around my columns, my column wrap. I want to start with the wall that I just created, and I'm going to modify it. I am going to start by duplicating it and renaming it. So again, I'm going to go into Edit Type, and this time I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to call this 4 1/4, because we are going to take off one layer of the gypsum board. So I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to go into Edit, and I'm going to take out the interior piece of the gypsum board. If I click on that and hit Delete, you'll see now my wall is 4 1/4, and I'm going to say OK. So let's review this wall type again before we move on. This is going to be the wall type around your columns. It will only have one layer of 5/8 inch gypsum board because the stud fits up against the column. That will make it a 4 1/4 inch non-rated wall. You have the choice of either setting these to go up to 9 foot 6 or being constrained to the roof. Again, it would probably be easiest to go ahead and constrain them to the roof. That way you don't have to do that column surround on each floor. But I do caution you, when we get ready to copy our floors to the second floor and the third floor, you'll want to make sure you don't copy these on top of each other if you take them up to the roof. If you only take them up to 9 foot 6, then you can go ahead and just select them when we get ready to copy up to the next level. So it's your choice which way you prefer to do it. So let's do our column surround. I want to pick my wall, and I want to pick the core face interior. Before I start drawing my wall, I want to set my height. All of our interior walls are going to be unconnected, and they need to be at 9 foot 6. We are going to have a ceiling height at 9 feet. So we want all of our walls to go up about 6 inches higher, so we have something for the walls to die into. We don't want to take them up higher unless they are a rated wall, because it makes it too difficult to get ductwork, etc. over the top of the wall. Again, the column surrounds are an exception to this. If you do want to go ahead and take them up to the roof, you can. It's your choice. So I'm going to hit Apply. Then again, I want to make sure I have core face interior, and I'm going to start drawing my wall and enclosing it. So you can see now I do not have gypsum board on the inside, and I do on the outside. So if we go and look at this in our 3D view, you can see I have my enclosure around my column. So I need to do that at every single column. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do the same thing here. to where I have all of my columns enclosed. I'm going to do that everywhere except for right through here. This wall here is going to be a separation wall between the two office areas. Yours may not be a complete rectangle, however it goes. This needs to be a 6-inch, 1 hour rated wall. In reality, code is not going to require that because our building is only 3 stories high and it has a sprinkler system. But just for practicing, I want you to practice creating and placing a 1 hour rated 6-inch metal stud wall. For this area here, we are going to create a new wall type. I'm going to start with my 4 7/8 partition 1 hour, and I'm going to do edit type, and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to change this to 7 1/4 inch partition 1 hour, and I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to go in and edit the structure. Again, if this was a true 1 hour wall, this would be a 5/8 inch type X gypsum board, which is a fire rated gypsum board, but in here it only just lists it as the gypsum board 5/8 inch. So what we do want to change here is the stud size. It needs to be a 6-inch stud. So now you'll see it's 7 1/4 inches, and I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to say OK. Now this wall, again, is going to be unconnected, and in reality it would come up to the bottom of the deck. Our floor-to-floor height is going to be 14 feet. So I'm going to set the height of this at 13 feet 11 inches, just so that it does not penetrate the floor slab above, so we don't see that when we're looking at our floors. And I'm going to say apply. Let's review this wall type. It has 5/8 inch gypsum board on each side with a 6-inch metal stud. If you recall, I said that the gypsum board should be a rated gypsum board, even though our program is not set up to show it that way. But you need to know that. That gives us a wall that is 7 1/4 inches, and it needs to say 1 hour rated wall in the description of the wall. As I did on mine, you do it at unconstrained at 13 feet 11 inches, or you can go ahead and constrain it to the roof, because again, the way that we are setting up ours is not true to the way it would actually be constructed. This needs to be used in the separation between the office areas and the lobby, your elevator shaft walls, your elevator equipment room walls, and your interior stair walls. If you notice the little diagram on the right, whatever pathway your lobby area takes, your 1 hour wall needs to do that. So if you look, say, where a column is at, you'll notice that the outside of the column that's facing the lobby has to be the 1 hour wall. In reality, you would need to change that wall at the column locations to take the gypsum board off of the inside of the column, but I'm not going to make you do that in these locations. Now I'm ready to start drawing my separation wall between my lobby and my office areas. I want my column enclosures to be inside my spaces. This will help make my lobby a cleaner space, and any offsets, etc. around the columns will be inside my office areas and not in the lobby. So I'm going to come out here to the side, and I'm going to draw this wall all the way down. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'll come back and figure out how I want to place that wall exactly. So now if I come over here and look, this one is actually placed exactly how I want it. I want the edge of the column to be against the stud here. So I'm going to use my modify tool, and I'm going to join these two walls to where I have a nice even finish there. And then this one I do need to move, so I'm going to align, and I want to keep my column where it's at. And I want to do a line and hit the tab key to there. And then again, I'll use my fillet to make that a nice even finish. So now, because I put my 6-inch wall out here, I don't have to do a 6-inch enclosure around my column. So that made it a little bit more simple. Once I get the exterior walls kind of where I want them, I am going to start doing all of the interior. I would start in your core area because this core may have to be adjusted based on what you're doing with your layout. My typical wall inside is going to be the 4 7/8 partition, and it needs to be at 9 foot 6 inches high. So any wall, say if I'm doing my office here on this side, that's what I want it to be. If I click on this, you can see it is a 4 7/8 partition and it is 9 foot 6 inches tall. I also need to worry about the room sizes. So again, like this office is supposed to be around 100 square feet. So if I go to my room tag and I place that in here, you'll see it gives me the room, and I can change the name of it to say office. And again, you want all of your room numbers on this level to be 100 numbers, so like 100, 101, 102. And then we need to see the square footage. So if I click on this and I go to edit type, you'll see it says show area if I put a check mark in that. I know this office is too big. I need to make this smaller, and I know really it needs to be about 10 by 10. If I click on this little blue node, it's going to take me to the inside. Click on this one, it will take me to the inside, and I can change that to be 10 feet. Notice this is the wall I have selected, so that is the wall that will move when I hit enter. And then on this wall, I can do the same thing. I want to go inside because I need these to be inside dimensions. And again, I can change that to 10 feet. And now I'm at my 100 square feet. Of course, I am going to lose a little space because of my column. So I need to come in and add my column wrap. And again, I want to make sure I have that at the right height, which I do. So now you can see it's a little bit smaller, so maybe I want to move this out, say, a foot. Now I'm at 109 square feet. That's okay. You are allowed to go 10% above or below what the document required in the initial layouts. So they don't have to be exact, but they do need to be within 10%. Also, as we're talking about this, my entire office building needs to be within 10% of what the requirement was. Your requirement was 12,000 square foot per floor with a total of 36,000. So let's take a look at how to figure out if you are close, because you don't want to get all of this done and then realize you're 20,000 square feet over or something unreal like that. So once you get the perimeter walls laid out, before you start filling the infill in, if you go to area plan up here under the architecture tab and you pick level 1 and say okay, and it says do you want to go with the exterior walls, and we do, we're going to say yes. It's going to take us to another plan. So now I can do area and I can bring this in, and it says that I'm at 12,578 square feet. Again, the area plan is its own plan. If you look over here in your project browser, you will see area plans, level 1. So as I go into my level 1 plan and I make changes, if I go to my level 1 area plan, you'll see that made the change with it, so it continually updates. So that is a good way to keep track as you make changes. So let's talk about area for a little bit. It's extremely important, as I mentioned, that you keep your building within these 10%, either above or below the building requirement. Again, this building is going to be used for me to lease out space to businesses. That's how I'm going to make my money. The core area that includes the lobby, the bathrooms, the elevators, etc., that area costs me money. So we want to minimize that area as much as possible. The office areas are where I will be making my money. As I mentioned, you can go 10% above or below on each space per the program requirements, and the same for the overall building. Again, not all of the 36,000 square feet will be leasable space because of the core areas, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going to base these calculations off of the 36,000 square feet. So let's look at my construction costs. The cost to build a building similar to this is around $200 a square foot. So if my building is 36,000 square feet, my building is going to cost me $7,200,000 to build. If I am 10% over on my square footage, which is approximately 39,600 square feet, my building now is going to cost me $7,920,000, which is an increase of $720,000. I may not have that in my budget to be able to do that. I may have that in my budget to be able to do that, but I would need to look to see how long it's going to take me to recoup that amount of money, and is it worth it to do that. If I am under 10%, my square footage at 32,400 square feet, my building now costs me $6,480,000, which saves me money. But when we look at the amount of money I'm going to lose yearly based on what I can lease out, that's not good either. So if you go over, I have to come up with another $720,000. I might be able to get that back pretty quickly in leasing the space. Typically, you have a set budget to work with. If you go under, I will save some construction costs, but I will lose a lot in my anticipated revenue from leasing the space. So let's look at my lease income. If I have 36,000 square feet that I can lease out at $52 per square foot per year, that makes my income $1,872,000. If my building is over by 10%, then I will have an income of $2,059,200 of income per year. This is an additional $187,200 per year. If I look at my additional construction costs by going over 10%, it would take me almost 4 years before I would start to make a profit on my building. So that is the downfall of going too much over. If my building is under 10%, this is where I'm really going to lose a lot. I would be losing $187,200 per year in income. Over 5 years, that is almost $1 million. Hopefully this helps you understand that it's very important to work within your client's program, budget, and wishes. So therefore, I am going to require that you stay within 10% one way or the other of the overall square footage. This is going to conclude this part of the video on inputting your interior walls. The next video, we will continue on with the remainder of the assignment, where we will discuss the stairs, elevator, restrooms, doors, windows, room tags. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know.